Hi. Um, I should say Marsha the Great, right? But truth be told, coming to you as Fabian Deacon right now. And the reason why I'm coming to you as Fabian Deacon is because cards on the table, I'm not well at the moment. Gang stalkers have been firing weapons at this part of my brain here. And the whole point of them doing that was to induce psychosis, which I believe they actually have done to a certain degree. Now, this is the thing that the gang stalkers haven't figured out, or like, I don't understand how they haven't figured this out yet. But the psychotic manifestations in me, they're not the same as a lot of other people who get sick. When I get sick, I tend to take better care of myself. I tend to start cleaning more. I tend to start doing more things. I tend to be more organized. I tend to be like, more driven and more ambitious, and I have more get up and go. Like when I was younger, I used to be very, very sick. And the irony is that I was doing a lot more as somebody who really wasn't well than as somebody who is well. When I am well, I'm not as ambitious. I'm not as aspirational, and I'm not as articulate because I'm not thinking constantly. My brain isn't constantly ticking over. But when I'm not well, my brain is constantly ticking over. So having that, it's allowed me to get to know myself on a level that most people don't get to know themselves. That's the first thing. The second thing is because this psychosis or this not being well has me talking out loud constantly. There are things that I find out about myself that I wouldn't ordinarily have done if I'd have just not been sick. But it's weird because with me, the poison is the medicine, right? And it's when I get in this state that more positive things start happening for me. That's when like I start, meeting new people and like that's when good stuff starts happening to me. I can't explain why, but it's like every time I get sick, that's when things start getting better for me. And when I start losing stuff and when my sanity is not like, it's kind of teetering and I'm not feeling my best, that's when things start to really, really pick up for me. And case in point, I become more organized. I become more ambitious. I have more get up and go. And even when I'm talking out loud to myself, I talk out loud to myself in ways that actually make sense. And I find out things about myself that I didn't realize, right? And I find out things about the world that I didn't realize. The first thing is something that I've actually known for a few years now. I don't know if you've ever seen Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, where Rebecca Bunch, because she has borderline personality disorder, she has maladaptive daydreaming cycles, and those maladaptive daydreaming cycles allow her to actually figure things out in like abstract ways. So it's like, all the musical numbers are as a result of her dissociation and maladaptive daydreaming, but it's those things that actually allow her to figure her feelings out. It's like what normal people do on steroids, right? And that's what happens to me. That's what always happens to me. It was the psychosis. It was it was the mental illness that allowed me to come to Brighton and start my life over. It is the psychosis that will allow me to make positive new strides in my life. And I know how that sounds. I know how that sounds. That's another reason why these people want me medicated. Because when I'm sick, that's when I do my best work. I do my best work when I'm sick. I'm most articulate when I'm sick. I'm able to engage in superior, and I mean superior pattern recognition when I'm sick. All the predictions I made about Nazism, about the right wing rising up and, rising up through the ranks and all the rest of it, I made all of those predictions when I was really, really sick. And I was completely 1,000% right. Speaking of which, my perps get angry at me because oh, she's always right all the time, she's always perfect. They have friends, they have family, they have, jobs and community and lives. They've got all these things that won't even turn away from them when they're guilty of trafficking someone, when they're guilty of murdering someone. They have all these things that will not refuse them, will not turn away from them, even when they're doing these absolutely terrible things. And even when they are causing other people to be both trafficking victims and perpetrators, they have all of these people and all of these situations that will not turn away from them no matter how much wrong they do. And yet, because they haven't been able to take every scrap of something away from me, they feel like shit about themselves, which really makes me wonder how much of their souls are they selling to have what they have? Why the fuck do you need to take everything away from me in a bid to actually have something for yourself? Why do you need to take everything away from somebody else, especially somebody different from you, in order for you to psychologically and physically function? Is having a lightning rod that fucking important? And again, this is exactly what I'm saying about me being ill. Have you heard me stutter once during this entire video? Hem or haw in any capacity? No, that because when I get like this and when my borderline like teeters over the edge, everything flows through, everything is channeled. So it leads to greater understanding, greater illumination. This is exactly why I say mental illness does not just disprove gangstalking. It doesn't disprove gangstalking at all, because when my psychosis is induced, I actually have get up and go. When my back was out and I couldn't walk, I was able to clean my home far better than I am now. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say, what are they trying to achieve here? I don't understand. You have all the trappings in the world and you have all the people in the world to dick ride you, even when they know you're trafficking, torturing and murdering someone. I'm thinking, like, how soulless are you that you need to make somebody ill enough to section before you feel like a full human being? You understand what I'm saying? So that is why I basically came online today. I came online because I don't want to hide my, like, if I'm teetering and I'm not well, I don't want to hide that from people. And I don't want to give people the illusion that just because I am sick, it means gang stalking isn't real. You've seen it. You saw the evidence from the last video I posted. Gang stalking is 100% real. It doesn't matter how much psychosis is going on. It doesn't matter how much they fire weapons on my brain to aggravate my BPD or to aggravate, further psychosis. It doesn't matter how much they try to section me. Gang stalking is real. It's been proven to be real. Even with my mental illness, there's evidence. And like I said before, many of the most correct predictions that I have made when it comes to society has been when I am sick. The most spot on things that I've said about my enemies and myself have been when I was sick. I gained the most influence and I gained the most love and support and kindness when I am sick or when I lose something. And again, because the gang stalkers are addicted to trying to humble someone, and especially when that someone doesn't give a damn whether they live or die, because they're addicted to cruelty, they will never understand that no matter how much they're told. I'm trying to do my readings too. So I've got the washing that's being done. I cleaned out my cupboards today because I don't know. And I'm also packing because I'm supposed to go to London tomorrow. So that's another thing. Like when I'm not feeling well, I'm able to multitask. You tell me. I don't know. I don't know. When I'm not well, I'm able to multitask and shit. Don't tell me. Minanosa. That's just how my brain is. Although I have to admit, I don't think it's so much about me being sick as that's just what I do when I'm sick. That's how I cope with my sickness. Yeah. So that's what's been happening at the moment. The torturers have been firing this part of my brain to induce psychosis and to induce some kind of psychological break so that they can ascertain exactly what makes me vulnerable. And they can find like an in to try to gain some control with some, I don't know, with some electronic weaponry or with some street theater or whatever that is, whatever it is the fuck they do, like the usual shit they do. Usual predictable shit, right? There's one thing that I said to myself out loud when I was having my maladaptive dreaming episode or maladaptive daydreaming episode. There was one thing that I said that I want to share with you all, right? So when you have maladaptive daydreaming, you have all these other characters in your head that kind of play devil's advocate. Cause I have borderline. This is one of the things that happen in my own head, right? I think it happens to everybody, but it's just with me. I'm just more vocal. There was one person opposite me who said, you know, cause I was imagining, like I was reimagining the gangstalking situation as a housemate situation, right? And, you know, it was a simple case of they wanted to punish me by isolating me from their presence. But what ended up happening in this daydream scenario was that I wasn't responding to that. And I was actually just getting on with my life by myself, just doing me, right? And, you know, everybody who isolated me was just sick about it. Like I said, it mirrors my real life. And this person who was opposite me, because it's just my own brain playing devil's advocate. This person who was mirroring me saying, you know, maybe give them some acknowledgement. Maybe I said, why? I said that it's their fault. Everything that they're doing is their fault. They chose to isolate me. They chose to look for a fight. They chose to try to weaponize their isolation against me. And now that them weaponizing their isolation is not working, now they want to turn around and try to play victim. And then this person said to me, what's more important to you, being right or being loved? I said, being right. When you are a marginalized person like I am, okay, I'm not just talking about being black or being queer or being neurodivergent or being a woman or anything like that. I'm talking about being a targeted individual. When you are marginalized, deliberately marginalized, right? And you are denied the same social capital everyone else is, you're denied the same. I also got a particular asteroid in my first house, and that's why people are cunts to me. That's the first time I've stuttered in this entire video, by the way. I said to this person, when you are marginalized like me, and this is my thought process, you are denied specific things that other people have access to. The benefit of the doubt, grace when you make mistakes. And what those two things lead to is like a trickle effect that seeps into your social life, your romantic life, your family life, the way your family treat you, the way your friends treat you, the way your relationships manifest as well. So when you're marginalized, it seeps into every other area of your life, and it kind of reduces your ability to enjoy the same things that other people not in your position are able to enjoy. And when that happens, the only thing you have to hold on to is your integrity and your self-respect. That is literally, when you're in my position, this is not every black person's story. This is not every woman's story, every queer person's story. It's not even every TI story, okay? But this is my story. When you are denied opportunities the same way everyone else is, because you're denied the benefit of the doubt and you're denied the same grace when you make mistakes, when you're denied those things, being right and having integrity, it's not even being right, actually, it's having integrity. Having integrity is the only thing that you have. Without that, I am completely dependent on the outside world to define me. Without my integrity, I don't survive. Without my integrity, my spirit doesn't live on. Without my integrity, I don't have love. I don't have value. When I don't have integrity, I don't have that. And that integrity, it can spill over into you being right all the time. Because when you have your integrity, you don't betray yourself. When you have people around you who are willing to validate you, like, self-betrayal is very easy to do. And in that self-betrayal, you can drag other people down with you. With me being right and me having that integrity, I don't drag whole communities of people down with me. I don't involve people in situations where they are both in danger and creating danger. You know, I don't lie to people because I don't need to. I don't need to deceive anyone. I don't need to gaslight anyone. I don't need to, spin a story. I don't need to do that because I don't need to hurt anyone. I don't need that in order to survive. That's what integrity and being right does for you. That's what I said to this other person in my head. That's what integrity and being right does for you. Without my integrity, I'd be dead now. Without my integrity, like, all the things that I like and enjoy, again, like, people have put hexes on me, put curses on me, tried to take that away from me. Again, because they have no integrity. So in me having my integrity, that's allowed me to survive in situations that I constantly never asked to be in. My integrity is everything to me. When I end up being around people, what kind of person do I end up being? I end up being like the people who betrayed me. I end up being like the people who sold me down the river. I end up being like the people who abused me, like the people who tortured me, like the people who attempted to fucking kill me multiple times. Who am I without my integrity? I end up being like them. So to answer the question of my own devil's advocate, I said, I'd rather be right than have people around me for all those reasons. And this is exactly what I'm saying to you. When I have these moments where my mental health is teetering, this is the type of shit that I come up with in my head. That and creative ideas, fan fiction. I just vocalize it. Rather than writing it down. I don't know why I can't write it down. I can't lie. There are times where I'm quite lazy. It just feels too taxing to do. Like, all these beautiful creative ideas that I have in my head, sometimes they feel too taxing to write down. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is how I am when my mental health isn't great. I make more sense when I'm sick than I do when I'm well. And that is what the gangstalkers wanted to draw out of me. They wanted to draw out illness that didn't make no fucking sense. Look back at my social media. Look at the amount of evidence I got against people. Look at the amount of evidence I got against people. That was what happened when they induced sickness in me with constant torture and attempted murder. They keep looking for avenues and looking for ways in which they will win, and they're not going to. And I don't think they will ever accept that. I don't think they will ever accept the fact that they're not going to win. I think this is just going to keep continuing. They're going to continue to make me sick deliberately. And then, when I start acting the way that I act when I am sick, they're going to start spiraling again because I haven't balled up in a corner crying my eyes out for no reason. It's what they do all the time. They just don't learn. They just don't learn. The gang stalkers don't learn. The perps don't learn. None of these people learn. They're just going to keep doing the same stupid shit. But hey, at least they got a rant. At least they got a rant, innit? Dang. I'm sorry. Another thing that I said to myself when I was talking out loud and stuff, I realized that it's not just me, it's all targeted individuals. The thing that you will live with for the rest of your life, especially TIs who spoke out against other forms of oppression as well, and who actually actively went out of their way to do something about it. You will live the rest of your life, and I will live for the rest of my life, knowing that the rise of the far right, or this fascism, we will live for the rest of our lives knowing that we were on the right side of history. We will live for the rest of our lives knowing that we tried to stop this, that we tried to save people. We will live for the rest of our lives knowing what we did. Knowing what we did to try to stop all this. And I feel like it's a combination of that and some of the revelations that came out of me when I was cleaning and talking and cleaning and talking. I think that is partially the reason why my confidence is growing as a person. Because I understand the gravity of what I sacrificed in order to tell the truth. I realized the gravity of how much grace I wasn't given, how much, how much I was marginalized, and how much grace I wasn't given, how much I wasn't liked. And I realized all the humiliation and the intimidation that I went through in order to tell the truth, all of that was sacrifice. And the truth of the matter is that those sacrifices pay off. In some cases, they really do pay off. I told the truth at a time where it really hurt me to do so. And now I'm looking at the world around me and I'm realizing I tried to stop it. Like so many targeted individuals tried to stop it and they're still trying. They're still trying. We are going to live for the rest of our lives knowing that we tried to save a world that tried to kill us. And the knowledge of that, instead of making me feel like the big I am, although it is very good, I'm not going to lie, like the realization is very good and it says a lot about our character. Instead of me feeling like, oh yeah, like, bigging up myself or whatever, like it's a humbling realization. It's a humbling realization to know that you put your ass on the line to have that integrity. It's a humbling feeling. It is very, very humbling, and living for the rest of my life with that knowledge it's a humbling feeling. And a lot of TIs don't have that confidence because it hasn't sunken in. You've actually been saving the world here, or trying to save the world here, whilst you were bombarded with these weapons, whilst your brains and your skeletal makeup, like whilst your brains were being damaged and your organs were being shrunken or enlarged and your skin was being burned, and you know the amount of torture you were going through, on top of the street theater, on top of whole communities turning against you. I don't think it's sunk into how, you know, to TIs exactly how much they've done and what side of history they found themselves on. I don't think it's sunk in yet. But when it does sink in, it's a humbling feeling. It's a humbling feeling like, damn, I really put my ass on the line to help people and not just myself. And that's something that I have to live with for the rest of my life. Again, it's a wonderful thing, but it's humbling. Just like the people who are perps, they have to live for the rest of their lives knowing that, you know, the current economic situation and the current financial climate, everything that they did helped make that, all these negative things happen. They have to live with that. I have to live with a different reality, precisely because of everything that they've done and everything that they're going to do. And again, all of these realizations came out when I wasn't well, when I'm relatively not well. And guess what? We'll watch this one play out. We'll watch this shit play out too. Just like it did when I was sick and talking about Nazis. Yeah, we're going to watch this shit play out as well. I have never known sick Fabian to be wrong ever. This shit is also going to play out. And like I said before, gangstalkers have been, you know, trying to make me mentally ill or what have you, or make me physically ill in the hopes that, you know, the one time I lose something valuable will be the one time they win something. It will never be the one time they win anything. They're fucked. They are absolutely thoroughly and completely fucked. It doesn't matter what they say, what they do. And the destiny swapping thing. Let's have a conversation about that. Let's have a conversation about all this destiny swapping that the gangstalkers have all these perps doing. You seriously think you're going to try to destiny swap with somebody you're torturing and that's not going to have some adverse effects? Like, let's be fucking for real. Let's be fucking for real. When you try to steal a targeted individual's life essence, when you try to steal everything that they are, you don't just steal the good stuff that you want, you also steal the bad. Why do you think so many of my gang stalkers either tried to section themselves or went mad? Like, they went mad like I did, but when I go mad, I get even. I get revenge. When they get mad, they fall apart. In trying to steal everything from me and trying to steal everything from my life, they also attracted the shit that makes them fucking fold. It doesn't make me fold. It doesn't make, hold on. It doesn't make me fold like that. It makes them fold. It don't make me fold. And the amount of perps that have lost their fucking minds, that have ended up mentally ill, that have actually had to section themselves and have themselves drugged up to be able to cope with gangstalking me. The amount of gang stalkers that are fucking depressed and disheveled, not looking after themselves. Yeah, because they're trying to destiny swap with their TIs too. Multiple perps are out here destiny swapping with TIs at the gang stalker's behest. But again, they don't just take the good stuff, they also take the bad. And all this hexing and all this cursing and stuff like that, that's another attempt by the perps to try to mimic me. Because even though I don't perform hexes and curses, I do perform manifestation rituals. That's another attempt at a destiny swap. Guess what happens? What happens when you try to destiny swap with a literal trafficking, abuse, and torture victim? What happens when you try to destiny swap with somebody you're actively attempting to murder? What the fuck do you think is going to happen? Every single person who ever stole my ideas like that, you're destiny swapping with a torture victim, with an abuse victim, with somebody that a whole government is trying to murder. That's who you're destiny swapping with, bro. I'm going to talk more about destiny swapping and Empress Justice Magic. I'm going to talk more about that, and also how perps destiny swapping with targeted individuals, it also gets them fucked up. That's another added element as to how perps also become trafficking victims. It's not just through the fact that they're coerced or bribed into this shit and lied to. It's also the fact that they try to steal TI's lives from them. What you just think is stealing the good shit? Like, be fucking for real. Be for real. Be for real right now. Like I said, they're fucked. They're fucked. They're 1,000% fucked. 1,000%. In so many ways. In so many ways. So they got the numbers, they've got the people on their side, but what did they have to sacrifice to get all that? It's not worth it. Just for a little bit of benefit of doubt, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Never that. Anyway, I have been like doing a lot actually. I've actually like done the astrological reading for Maga. So I'm going to actually do that when this machine cuts off. Hang on. Okay, so this machine will cut off in about 2.5 hours. So I'm going to do the Maga astrological reading for Empress Justice astrology actually. And when it comes to the 12 signs, I don't know what I'm going to do with the 12 signs. I might just do them all in one sitting. Might just do that. Cause Minanosa. But anyway, I gotta go. Peace and blessings. I love you guys so much. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace and blessings. Bye bye, my darlings.